Welcome to Celestial Zodiac. This is your daily horoscope for Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. Today brings a turning point in the week, where the focus shifts from planning into decision and action. The sun in Aries continues to push for forward movement, but now the energy feels more immediate, as if something can't be delayed any longer. The moon adds emotional pressure, helping you recognize what's working and what isn't with greater clarity. Mercury's influence sharpens your thinking, but this is less about analyzing and more about choosing. Today is about trusting what you already know and taking the step you've been preparing for. Aries. Today brings a moment where thinking turns into action, whether you feel fully ready or not. You've had time to consider your options, and now the pressure is building to make a decision. Early in the day, you may feel a push to move quickly, but this isn't about impulsiveness, it's about commitment. Something becomes clearer, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Emotionally, this may feel like urgency mixed with certainty. Trust your instinct, but make sure your actions align with what you truly want. This is your moment to follow through. Taurus. What has been building internally now reaches a point of clarity. You may find that something you've been processing finally makes sense, even if it wasn't obvious before. There's less confusion today and more quiet certainty about what needs to change or be released. Early in the day, you may still feel hesitant, but that hesitation begins to fade as clarity sets in. Emotionally, this can feel grounding, even if the realization is significant. This is not about rushing, it's about acknowledging what you already know. Once you accept it, your next step becomes clear. Gemini. Today helps you cut through the noise and focus on what actually matters. What felt scattered earlier in the week now begins to narrow into something more defined. You may feel pressure to choose between options, especially when it comes to your goals or connections. Early in the day, there may still be some back and forth, but that won't last. Emotionally, this can feel like a shift from overwhelm into clarity. You don't need to keep everything open anymore. Choosing one direction will create more momentum than trying to hold onto all of them. Cancer. Today brings a moment where you can no longer avoid a decision, especially when it comes to your responsibilities or long-term direction. Something that felt uncertain earlier in the week now becomes more defined. You may feel pressure to step up or take ownership in a way that feels uncomfortable at first. However, this clarity is exactly what you needed. Emotionally, this can feel intense, especially if expectations are involved. Trust yourself to define your own path rather than reacting to outside pressure. This is where you move from hesitation into authority. Leo, your vision sharpens today, and what once felt like possibility now demands direction. You may realize that not every idea can move forward, and a choice needs to be made. Early in the day, there could be some hesitation about letting something go. However, holding on to everything will only slow you down. Emotionally, this can feel like a shift from excitement into focus. This is your moment to choose what truly deserves your energy. When you commit to one direction, your confidence becomes much stronger. Virgo. Today brings a clear realization, especially around something that hasn't been fully adding up. You may finally see the missing piece or understand a situation in a way you didn't before. This clarity can feel both relieving and intense at the same time. Early in the day, you may replay details in your mind, but the answer becomes undeniable. Emotionally, this shifts you from uncertainty into control. This is not a day for second-guessing what you already know. Trust your judgment and move forward with confidence. Libra. Today brings a moment of truth in a relationship or situation that requires balance. Something that may have been avoided earlier in the week now needs to be addressed directly. You may feel pressure to speak up or make a decision about where you stand. Early in the day, there could be hesitation, especially if you're trying to keep the peace. However, clarity makes it harder to ignore what's out of alignment. Emotionally, this can feel intense but also freeing. This is your moment to choose honesty over comfort. Scorpio, today highlights something in your daily routine or responsibilities that can't continue the same way. You may clearly see what's not working and feel the need to change it immediately. There's less tolerance for inefficiency or avoidance now. Early in the day, you might feel pressure to fix everything at once. However, the real power comes from making one decisive adjustment. Emotionally, this can feel like a shift from frustration into control. This is your moment to take action in a focused, strategic way. Sagittarius, today brings a decision around something that inspires you, but also requires commitment. You may realize that you can't keep everything open-ended anymore. What once felt exciting now needs direction and focus. Early in the day, there could be hesitation about narrowing your options. However, clarity shows you what truly matters. Emotionally, this can feel like choosing purpose over distraction. This is your moment to commit to what genuinely excites you and let the rest go. Capricorn, today brings a clear moment around your home, foundation, or emotional stability. Something that may have been lingering now needs a decision or a shift in direction. You may realize what is and isn't supporting you long-term. Early in the day, there could be some resistance to change, especially if it disrupts your sense of control. However, clarity makes it easier to see what needs to be done. Emotionally, this can feel grounding, even if the decision isn't easy. This is your moment to create a foundation that truly supports your future. Aquarius, today sharpens your thoughts and brings a clear message or realization to the surface. You may feel the need to say something or make a decision that you've been thinking about all week. What once felt scattered now becomes more direct and focused. Early in the day, you might hesitate, especially if you're unsure how it will be received. However, clarity gives you the confidence to express yourself. Emotionally, this can feel empowering as you trust your voice. This is your moment to speak with intention and stand by what you say. Pisces, today brings a clear realization around your values, finances, or sense of security. Something that felt uncertain earlier in the week now becomes more defined. You may recognize what needs to change in order to create more stability moving forward. Early in the day, there could be hesitation about taking action. However, clarity makes it harder to ignore what you already know. Emotionally, this can feel like a shift from uncertainty into grounded awareness. This is your moment to make a decision that aligns with your long-term security. Today is about decision and follow-through. The clarity you've been building all week is now asking for action, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to trust what you already know. The energy is pushing you to move forward with intention rather than hesitation. What you choose today sets the tone for what comes next. That's your daily cosmic commute forecast. Please like, subscribe, and share to stay connected to your Monday through Friday astrology here on Celestial Zodiac.